So what's up, everybody? So this just happened to me. So a lot of you know I have ADHD and I'm on meds. I haven't taken my meds in a long time, but now that I'm back in school, I have to take my meds because of the requirements of the class, which suck. It's the only way I can do my homework. So I went back to my doctor. I got my meds, right? So I used to have medical insurance. I never really worried about this stuff. So it's fascinating to find out when you don't have certain things, what actually is transpiring. So this is what had just happened. I went to my doctor. Super cool. Haven't seen her in a year. She prescribed my meds. Nothing different. Nothing special about them. They got electronically transferred to the Old Village Publix, which they keep Adderall on in their pharmacy, so that's normal for them to have it, and that's why my prescription's there. So my doctor, knowing, because I used to have medical insurance, but when Charlotte County separated me for medical reasons, they never filled out my paperwork. They refused to, and the Department of Labor ruled that I'm supposed to be put back to work and reinstated. I still have not been reinstated. I still have not been back paid all the way to July of 2020. I don't have my medical insurance anymore also. So that lawsuit's pending. It's filed with the 20th Judicial Circuit, and that has to come out because they were ordered by the federal government to put me back to work. So this is all about I don't have medical insurance. So let me tell you what happened. So I go to get my med, right? It's like $100. My doctor had sent me a discount card. Like, she sent me something. I don't do this stuff much, so I don't know much about it. But it actually made the price like $52. So I give it to Publix, the pharmacist, and the pharmacist says, we don't accept discount cards for narcotics. So narcotics are scheduled, they're DEA scheduled drugs, right? So they have to have a chain of custody, okay? But it's interesting because this is what he really said. What he really said was, you have been diagnosed with a condition that requires you to have a drug that the government mandates must be regulated through a scheduling system. And because you have this diagnosis, we are going to not accept any discounts because of your medical condition. That's what he said. Now, there's this whole thing about narcotics and abuse of narcotics and everything else. And I get that. I was a paramedic. Okay, I get that. I used to teach people about this stuff. In fact, I pretty much wrote Charlotte County's medical protocols based on narcotics. So, or at least I edited them. So, I understand chain of custody. I understand narcotics. But what we also have to understand is that these medications were not made for people to abuse. These medications were made for specific medical conditions. There's a reason. I mean, I worked on a rescue that gave morphine, Versed, okay? Ketamine. These are drugs that are scheduled narcotics, and there's a reason to give them. But what's happening is, because there's abuse of these drugs, the people who actually need these drugs, need these medications for conditions, are being deprived of their medications. So it's like, well, if you have heart disease, if you have high blood pressure, or you have this or that, like, yeah, you're fine. But if you need this, and not all of them are for pain, I don't take it for pain. I don't want it. But to do the work I need to do the way that they want me to do it, I need it. So that's pretty much what it is. I have to have it. or I'm just not going to do it. It's just the way it works. So it's interesting that we've digressed, because really our country was supposed to protect the rights of one person, and if we protect the rights of one person, we could protect the rights of all people. And the laws are supposed to protect the rights of each person to be treated equally and justly. But as you can see, that's not what's happening. And there's some argument or some excuse about it. It doesn't matter how many people abuse the drugs. What matters is that we don't deprive the people who have a just reason to those drugs from those drugs. It is more important to protect the just than it is to impose opinions on those who abuse. Because if we're not going to protect the rights of one, then we might as well not protect the rights of any. And in case you looked around, we're not protecting the rights of any. We are doing whatever someone's opinion tells us to do. That's what's happening. So I thought it was funny. I'm going to have to find a new pharmacist now, because I'm leaving Publix after I don't know how many years, because the situation changed. But the reality is, I should not be treated any differently than anyone else, just like no one else should be treated any differently. And I am being treated differently, not because I want to, but because I don't have a choice. So it's an interesting idea or an interesting concept, and I wanted to share it with you. See y'all.